Are you tired of playing the same Rome campaign every time? Since we all know Rome is the only faction you're playing anyway, do you want to play in a later campaign period but actually experience the Roman Empire at its height rather than as a collection of a bunch of squabbling Roman factions? Of course you do, and even more than that, I have the perfect companion mod, because that's right, what I'm about to show you here today is the quintessential late era Roman experience. And if you want to see more, make sure to leave a like and a comment down below, it really helps me and the channel out. What you see before you is the brand new mod 27 BC, the Dawn of the Empire, a mod that takes us all the way into the 1st century AD. The Roman Empire is in complete control of the Mediterranean, stretching all the way from Iberia in the west to Syria in the east, mostly completely uninterrupted. However, other civilizations do remain. Instead of complete conquest, the Romans have subjugated several peoples who now live under the Roman yoke, whether in North Africa, the Alps, Anatolia, or Palestine. As far as the Mediterranean goes then, Rome is in control. Its cities are well managed, with Caesar Augustus' policies benefiting all Romans, whether in Gaul, Italy, or Egypt. His benediction spreads far and wide. Grand buildings ensure the prosperity of the citizenry, and despite cultural differences, the people of the empire remain content. However, if you thought this would be simple, well, perhaps fate has other things in store for you. For you see, Rome's borders do in fact end. In Iberia, two tribes remain, threatening to bring chaos to the peninsula. In Persia, the Parthians lead a vast empire in the east, and who knows what lies beyond them. No Roman has stepped beyond the borders into Germania proper, where barbarians threaten to gather mighty hosts. And well, as for Britannia, its peoples have been left alone for too long, and must soon feel the justice and light of Rome. And before we go on, can I just say how gorgeous this map looks in all of this crimson red? This minimap, by the way, is a mod that's originally meant for DEI, one with a Latin font and look, but it actually works too for vanilla-like campaigns as long as they take place in the Augustus campaign, which 27 BC also does, which I'm so happy about. Now, seeing that we're in the late Roman period, but still in the glory days of the early empire, I've decided to install another mod to spice things up even further. Not to adhere to historical realities, but to give this campaign some oomph, to make it really shine. And that mod is the Ryse Son of Rome mod series, which you might be able to guess has managed to essentially replicate the Roman legion models from Ryse Son of Rome into Rome 2. These models look badass, but together with the other mods in the series like combat and new effects, I'm hoping we'll see some really cool stuff for a familiar but new and spicy campaign experience. And you know, I thought this was going to be a simple affair, even on legendary difficulty. But of course, not everything is as it seems. Because even though the empire is doing well, you're not as rich as you might think. Your armies are scattered across the empire, and every single one sports fewer men than may be needed for an offensive campaign. And just when you think you can rest on your laurels and that all is well, some of the tiny ones start acting up. A war in Judea broke the Roman alliance with Petra, forcing the governors to dispatch armies southward, although Roman law prohibited a full declaration of war for another few months. Another such war broke out between two vassals, but there we took a much more active role immediately, justifying the attack with a defensive purpose. The rebellion was quickly brought down on Cappadocia as they were re-subjugated, but their enemies went forward anyway and took the city for themselves in a surprise move. The local Roman governors would have acted if it weren't for a sudden other threat, namely that of a dual declaration of war from two older enemies on the eastern border, namely Palmyra and Parthia. This sudden realization that war was again a part of everyday life meant that a swift movement of armies from Anatolia's interior to Syria and the border with Persia was vital. But more importantly, reports came in from the north, our spies spotting Britain ships leaving their shores. If Caesar Augustus were to nip this in the bud and prevent a possible two-front war in Britannia and Germania, he would have to act soon. Ordering the raising of several new elite legions, he let one army remain stationed in Germania Inferior, while two of the other northern armies recently resupplied with fresh legions and set out on campaign. The immediate priority was to secure the coast of northern Gaul from incursions, and they made it there in the nick of time. Taking the matter into their own hands, Gnaeus Imperiosus ventured forth. He didn't plan on starting a war then, but when a barbarian fleet halted his progress and demanded he turn around, he sent them away in the name of Augustus and declared Britannia as Roman land on the spot. The barbarian fleet fled, allowing Gnaeus to quickly sail past a nearby blockade and reach the shores of Britannia for the first time in Roman history. In the east, the war with Parthia was heating up. a Parthian army broke through the undefended border and struck at once at Tyros. It was up to the garrison army to fend them off, but with the legions being trained in the phalanxes of the Hellenics for decades now, the brave Romans held their ground to a man, despite the harrowing arrow showers tearing the skin off anyone unlucky enough to get caught in them. When the dust settled, Tyros remained in Roman hands, the Parthians scattering to the winds. The way to Palmyra wasn't fully open, however. The last great Palmyran army sallied out of the city and charged into the outpost of a nearby camped army, whereby the Roman general promptly ordered not a retreat, but tactical maneuvering. Returning just weeks later with 3 grand armies camped outside of Palmyra, the Palmyran leadership deemed to see reality. Offering peace and subjugation to Rome once more, Augustus accepted the treaty, bringing Palmyra back into the Roman fold. But more importantly, since Armenia had swept in from the north and taken Parthia by surprise, Roman forces could now move through Palmyran and Armenian lands deep into Parthian territory and soon lock eyes on the heart of Mesopotamia. Little did the Roman governor in Anatolia know that Galicia would commit treason when he chose to protect Pontus, and war now engulfed the entirety of the east. Even in Palestine had the Petrans conquered Jerusalem, and the Roman generals had to act, taking it back and now fully incorporated into Rome itself. However, it was in the north where barbarian hordes had to be stopped, lest all of Gaul would be in jeopardy. A massive naval battle took place when an alliance of Britons sought out the Second Roman Navy. It was a close battle, and heavy losses occurred on both sides. At the end of the day though, looking across the channel to the nearby pearly white cliffs, the battle was won. But before celebrations could be made, another battle commenced on land, in the most important battle to date. Here, the Roman legate would either forfeit the battle for Britannia completely or see his promise to the emperor of total subjugation within closer reach. But the winter wasn't kind to his men. Marching through the snow and the cold, they asked themselves why they were there, why they had come to such a dark and dreary place. But before long, swords and arrows became more important than questions, and the fate of Rome in Britannia would be decided here. Victory came at last, but with both generals dead from the 2 last skirmishes, new leadership arrived, none other than the emperor's son, Tiberius. Making excellent use of local mercenaries who valued gold over country, he took the army towards Isca, conquered it, and firmly planted the Roman banner on the island. the two armies regrouped in the province, and together they had ushered the empire in a new age, one proving that oceans were no barrier to Roman power. In other words, this is a pretty cool combination of mods. 27 BC allowed me to instantly roleplay as the Roman Empire, with Augustus as its leader no less. And as you could probably tell from these battles, the Ryse Son of Rome mods did create more bloodshed than I've ever seen before. But as always, let me know how you feel about these mods and what you thought of this video. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and consider supporting me on Patreon if you enjoy what I do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!